This message has ushered a new era of discord in Europe.
Мною принято решение о проведении специальной военной операции.
Currently, alam natin na may gera between Ukraine and Russia that has been raging on for a while now. Ukraine is fighting for its right to exist, while Europe and its security is being challenged dahil ang Russian invasion is occurring at their doorstep. But how did we get to this point in the first place? How did the differences of NATO and Russia lead to this war? This is Geopol Express. Welcome to the conundrum. The tension between the United States and Soviet Union because of their opposing ideologies of capitalism and communism ang naging dahilan ng pagsimula ng Cold War, which led to the creation of NATO. Ang NATO, or North Atlantic Treaty Organization, is a defensive military alliance between North America and Europe created in 1949. Ang main purpose nito ay ang pag-secure ng peace sa Europe, promote cooperation, and safeguard the freedom of its members mula sa banta ng Soviet Union and the Warsaw Pact, which was the communist counterpart of NATO. Pinapahalagan din ng NATO ang Article 5 of the North Atlantic Treaty, pertaining to collective defense, where an attack on one ally is an attack on all allies. Fast forward sa 1990s, nagkaroon ng reunification ang West and East Germany after being divided for more than 40 years. This is also the time kung saan pinag-usapan ni George H.W. Bush and Mikhail Gorbachev ang future ng Germany. If a reunified Germany chooses to be a NATO member, it is assured that NATO will not expand, not 1 inch to the east. Ang assurance na ito ang naging dahilan ng dissolution ng Warsaw Pact at umaasa ang Soviet Union that their actions are reciprocated by America by disintegrating NATO. However, assurances are just assurances. NATO still exists and kept their membership open even after the fall of the Soviet Union. Mula doon, nagsimula na ang Eastern expansion ng NATO. Unting-unting sumali ang mga dating members ng Warsaw Pact like Poland, Hungary, Czech Republic at marami pang iba. Sumali na din ang Baltic states which are Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, which were formerly republics of the Soviet Union. The admission of the Baltic states in NATO was met with disdain from the Kremlin. The Eastern expansion was seen as a stab in the back. Decades have passed, and more countries have joined or are planning to do so. The fact that NATO recognizes Ukraine's aspiration for membership, despite stern warning for many years from the Kremlin, was the biggest red line NATO has ever crossed. The Kremlin has a different worldview that can be summed up in one word: insecurity. This word stems in 3 different ways: geography, history, and power. In the context of geography, kahit na malaki ang teritoryo ng Russia, it has geographical weaknesses. Lahat ng maritime choke points, like the Barents, Baltic, and Black Seas, are vulnerable dahil controlled ito ng Europe. The entire country is also a vast plain with little to no natural barriers, which makes it easy for them to get invaded. And that's where historical context comes in. Throughout their history, Russia has been invaded by various European nations, like the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, Sweden, Napoleonic France, and the Germans on both world wars. Those invasions made Russia feel more insecure, which is why they conquer others as a way to pacify the threat of invasion against them. Now, in the context of power, the survival of the state and its authority matters. The Soviet Union had so much influence until it collapsed in 1991. All Soviet socialist republics became independent, at lahat ng members of the Warsaw Pact are now part of NATO. From Russia's point of view, gusto ng NATO i-destabilize ang bansa. Mula sa eastward expansion nila and pag-entertain nila ng membership application ng mga former Soviet republics, especially Ukraine, gives the impression that they are attempting to destroy them. All three of these explains why the fall of the Soviet Union was considered a geopolitical catastrophe by Vladimir Putin. To the Kremlin, Kyiv is a vital geopolitical linchpin. But to Ukraine, the Kremlin is seen to be an oppressor that will destroy their sovereignty. Relations between the West and Russia turned cold once again with the invasion of Crimea in 2014. Eventually, on the 24th of February 2022, things have completely changed. But who should be blamed for this war? Both of them. This war was inevitable to begin with because of history and politics. In the end, the differences of the West and Russia are irreconcilable, and Ukraine becomes the innocent victim. Sa tingin nyo, ano ang mangyayari after this war? Please comment below, and if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe for more updates.